I must have made 12, 14, I don't know how many trips cross country with Elvis over the years. I always sat shotgun. We are about 30 miles before Oklahoma City on Route 66. Elvis pulls the bus over. There's a empty lot, barn, and Elvis turns to me and he says, "Would you mind stepping outside with me, please?" But the way he said it, I didn't know what I said or what I did. I said, "Sure." We walk outside and we're standing toe to toe, and he had this book in the Impersonal Life in his hand. He said, "Okay, just tell me the truth. Who sent you here to give me this information? Who sent you here to give me these books?" And I didn't even open my mouth, and a car pulls up, and these two guys, reporters from the local paper jump out. "Hey, Elvis, what you doing, buddy? What you doing around here? Can we have a picture?" And Elvis said, "Yeah, sure, if you take one with my buddy and me." We walked to the front of the bus. Elvis puts his arm around me, looks at me like with a grin, like Saved by the Bell. We're taking this picture. I wish I had this picture because of the story behind it. And they take the picture. Then Elvis signs an autograph. They leave, and Elvis looks at me and he says, "All right, who sent you? What is this?" And I looked at him. I said, "You sent me, Elvis. You sent me." He smiled and he said, "You're right. That's it. Let's go." Elvis's library began swelling. I brought him books from all the great spiritual masters of every wisdom tradition on planet Earth. And the people around him most of them, not all of them, didn't like the fact that Elvis was reading. He was changing. He was 28 years old. I was 24. He was growing up. He had an inquisitive mind, like I told you. About 6, 7 months after I'm working with Elvis, Elvis had no conception of time. He was on what we used to call Elvis time. He would wait to the very last minute if he had to do something. And he did not like going, he loved making movies. He loved them. But leaving Graceland sometimes was a difficult task. So we waited to the last minute, which meant for the first time ever, we had to drive straight through to his home, back here to make a movie. So we knew we couldn't stop. So when we got to the panhandle of Texas, Amarillo, Elvis pulled into a motel and someone said, "Elvis, we can't stop." He said, No, 30 minutes. I just need to freshen up. You guys get a room, get me a room by myself. We go up into our room. 30 seconds later, the phone rings. Someone said, "All right, Larry, he wants you. You can't start talking to Elvis again. We got to go. That's why Elvis pulled over, because there was something on his mind. I go into the room, and Elvis is walking back and forth. He says, "All right, you got to tell me, man. You got to tell me. I've always believed in God. I'm a believer. I've read all the books, and I read all about these mystics that have all these extraordinary experiences and how people are touched with this divine energy, and it's never happened to me. I believe, but it hasn't happened. Why?" So I said, "Elvis, it doesn't matter if you're Elvis Presley or Larry Geller or anyone else. We got to let go of our egos. We got to let go and surrender to God. Ask God about it. Tell God what you want." "I get it," he said. "Okay, I get it. Let's go. We got to get to California." Here it comes. We get into the Dodge Mobile home. We drive through New Mexico, Arizona, and we were facing the sacred Hopi mountain called the San Francisco Peaks. And Flagstaff and the Grand Canyon is up there. And we're driving, and all of a sudden, Elvis says, "Whoa, look, do you see what I see?" Jerry Schilling and Red West and Billy Smith were behind us in the cab. And I looked, I said, yes, I do. And I saw it, and you would see it. A definitive face of Joseph Stalin with the eyebrows and that mustache and that hair. I couldn't believe we saw the same thing. Wow, that's right. But as I'm looking, it started to diffuse into a cloud again. And all of a sudden, I turned to Elvis, and he goes, oh, and his jaw dropped, and he pulls the bus over the side of the road. He said, Lawrence, follow me. And these guys in the back, they look, and Elvis runs about 10 yards into the desert. And I follow him, and he turns around and streaming tears, grabs me. You're right, I love you, man, I love you, you're right. You gotta let go. It's not the ego, it's not the... I said, Elvis, what happened? He said, you saw that face. I saw that face of Joseph Stalin, and he was worse than Hitler. This guy was like the Antichrist. He killed more people than Hitler. I thought maybe I was getting a message. Maybe God was telling me something about myself. And I said, God, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. All I want to do is to do your will. Please, I surrender to you. And all of a sudden, that face went into full-blown light, and a lightning bolt pierced my heart and went into every atom and cell in my body. And I was filled with such love. God is love. God is love. He said, I'm going to tell you something. Now I don't have to believe in God anymore. Now I know. Now I know God is He's in you, He's in me, He's in every, and His love, that's what it's all about. At that moment, Red West stuck his head out. He said, hey boss, are you all right out there? Elvis said, I've never been better, I'll be right there. And we both needed shaves, and we were just, cars are whizzing by in the highway. And Elvis says, can you imagine if the fans saw me like this? I said, Elvis, they'd love you all the more, believe me. Get back in the bus, and Elvis was so taken back by this experience, couldn't drive for the first time. He said, Red, you take the wheel. And Elvis and I went to the bedroom in the back, and we sat down. And for the next couple hours, we just talked and talked about what happened. And we both fell asleep. The next thing we knew, we heard screaming. We're on fire, we're on fire. Red pulled the bus over, and thankfully we were about 2 miles, mile and a half, right before Needles, California. Fortunately, we all jump out of the vehicle, and under the carriage in the back, under the axles, flames are coming. We all got our hands in the gravel, and we extinguished the fire. And there we are, Elvis Presley in the middle of the desert. And our caravan, for the very first time ever, we got lost. And I was so glad, because it was just us in this experience. We all got suitcases that we're in. And Elvis said, I'll have someone come get the buses. Just get me into a room. He takes out his wallet and gives it to me. He said, Larry, you're in charge. Get a room for all of us, and then go rent a car, and let's just get back. We got to get back now. So we're in a room. I called the local cab company. 10 minutes later, 2 cabs. I go downstairs, and I said, look, we have a very important passenger, so you need to be calm and get us to Los Angeles. We're going to put all our luggage in one vehicle. We'll drive with you in this vehicle. And all of a sudden, Elvis is walking down with the other 3 guys, and they both look up. I can't imagine what, their headspace, what's going. I said, yes, it's Elvis Presley. You're going to take him home. We get in the car, in the vehicle. Elvis is in the back, right by the window, and he rolls the window down, and he's still in this experience. And he puts his head out the window, and he breathes in, he goes, whoa, like that. But the driver is freaking out. His pedal was 90 miles an hour now. I said, hey man, slow down, slow down. You want to kill us? Keep your eyes on the road, because he's looking at Elvis. This is quite a moment, right? Drive up to the house, and all the other guys are there. We get out, and I said, listen, guys, we got to be at the studio. Go home, get some sleep. Larry, come with me. We got to talk.